Good morning. Danny, I'm going to talk to you a little bit in a moment. These are my teammates, Femke and Celine. And I'm going to talk to you about the project Open Talk for the next 10 minutes. You're all familiar with it, but let's continue with the problem. So what is the problem of this? What's the problem behind this project? Does it have anything to do with promotion? We don't think so. We figured out that there's 3 problems that we're going to tackle in this project, and the first is the number of dropouts. There's a lot of them, too much for the Open University, so that's something that I want to tackle. Second of all, the change of the main purpose. The environment of the Open University is changing at a rapid pace, and they're struggling to keep up a bit. And our main focus will be the bottleneck. I'm going to explain that to you. So consider this student who is thinking about studying somewhere, and he has some options, like the Open University, but also LOE and NCOE. So he considers these options, and he requests some additional information at these different facilities. And in the best case scenario, this information will lead to a successful enrollment into the program, so registration. What we noticed is that in the case of the Open University, there's a bottleneck in the process between the information request and the enrollment. So the people actually know how to find the Open University, they know how to request the information, but they do not register after that. Of course, this is not good. So our solution for this problem is the Lego proposition. Now you're probably wondering, Lego, fancy stuff, but we're not talking about the fancy stuff. We're talking about the basics. It's about the building blocks. So yeah, Lego. It's about building your own courses. Holy crap. So what we want to do is we want to give people the opportunity to actually have a free rein in how their study is built up. So something like this, you have a very strong foundation, and then you can use building blocks to extend that. So you can add some management courses, but also something in law or ICT or psychology, something like that. So they can basically they can build their own study. That's the main focus of our solution. All right. So why? We think that if you get the opportunity to build your own studies, to build your own courses, you are involved with the process from the start. So you actually you are very it becomes your own. So let's say I would build my own course. I would mix and match a bit and try to have some fun with it. And in the end, the goal is for the users to adopt it. So basically, it becomes their baby. They get strong feelings for it, and I'm so sorry. So yeah, it becomes theirs. It's their thing that they built from the get-go, and this would lead to what would be the chances to drop out if it is really your adopted child in a way? Say you have all these personal circumstances, like falling in love, moving, or getting a divorce, whatever. A lot of personal circumstances that can actually change your perspective on life and studying at the same time. But with the building blocks, the nice thing is that you can actually pause certain blocks if it's necessary. So let's say you are in a difficult time in your life, and you added all these courses to your studies. You can actually pause a couple of them for a short period of time in order to regain some focus on the other aspects without actually dropping out of the university entirely. So you can just pick them up at a later time and continue on in your studies. Good morning. No problem. Right. So we think that this solution.
Wait a second.
All right. All right. That's good. Oh. right? Like I said before, this would be the solution to decrease the number of dropouts in using this product. So basically that would mean that people don't drop out. We built some kind of little mock-up of what this could look like on the Open University website if you wanted to build your own courses. So basically you would start with a very basic interface where you could choose your categories, and these categories, like management, are then linked to subcategories where you can actually refine your choices and find out what kind of courses or courses are available in that area. You can see the information. I know it's not very clear here, but so you can see the information on the course, and you can actually see down here that there's this warning sign that says, well, there's some extra criteria that's necessary for you to actually enroll in this course. So let's say I wanted to add this to my personal studies, then it would say, well, you would, if in order to follow this course, you would also need resource management to do this, because you need the foundation that we talked about earlier. So you could actually make a choice then between, like, if you want to add resource management to your studies, or if you actually already followed it previously, so you don't have to do it anymore. But in this case, let's just add both of them. So then you see that in the bottom part, there's these courses that you picked, and well, it's a mix of management, but also environment and law in this case, and a button for you to enroll into the studies. So, sum that up. The LEGO proposition is about building your own course, building your own studies. You can combine courses from different areas of interest and create your own. The goal of this is to actually adopt it, to get a feeling for it, to love it after a while, and to don't drop out because of the flexibility of the system. All right. Why we use the name Lego is actually, if you can go back in time a little bit, when you were playing with Lego yourself, it was actually a lot of fun to build your own buildings and creations, and it was awesome, and you had so much fun. But once it was done, you had to tear it down again to start building something new. It was always a bit, it's not too nice to tear down something that you love, that you spend so much time on. So that's the reasoning behind the name, the Lego proposition. And that's also the reason why we think that if you spend a lot of time on it and you adopt it, you love it, you're less likely to drop out and you become more involved with it. So enrollment will be easier for you, or easier. It will be an easier step for you to make. That's what I wanted to say. And basically, that is the end of our presentation already.
Thank you. We're the group of Britta, Nout, that's me, Laura and Charlotte. And we're going to talk about putting the U back into Open University and what that's all about. I'm going to introduce you to Catherine. And Catherine is 23 years old. She works at Red Bull. I envy her job. She studied a bachelor in business administration, and she's currently doing something with her degree at Red Bull. And a senior employee at Red Bull motivated her to keep on learning, and she decided to do a study at the Open University. She started full of enthusiasm, but after a while she had a few exams and she failed one. And she was really down about that, and she felt a little bit alone because she didn't have that much personal contact with her professor, and because she started working from out the offices of Red Bull and studying there, she didn't really know who was in her year and who was a bit on the same page, because she had to do it besides her work. Well, this is the case of Catherine, but of course Catherine isn't alone on that. So let me introduce you to meet the others. There are over 26,000 students at the Open University, and most of those students, as we've seen in the numbers, don't really have a mentor, and those who have a mentor can really appreciate what that person is doing for them. Because Catherine, it could also be Laura. Because she failed a course and she needed some help, she was looking for someone to talk to, and she was one of those students who didn't have a mentor. It's just to prove a point that there's a large number of students out there that don't really have someone to talk to, and that's one of the things that we want to do with this concept that we're presenting. We want to stop so many students from dropping out, and we think that one of the main reasons for that is that most of the students don't have an actual personal relationship with the university. And what we're presenting here today is something that will improve that and give them a feeling of presence from the university in their life. Well, we're going to our concept now, and our concept is built up of a few modules. It's not said that one module could work, but we build it up like a plan you can do in phases, and in the end, those will all add up together as one big picture. We're talking about some organizational changes first, as in a semester system, because we think that students have the chance now to start at any point in time. And that brings a problem because you don't really have a group that you belong to. And that again has to do with that feeling that you belong to the Open University. So what does that mean? Phase 1, semester system. It looks a little bit like this. Numerous students starting all at different dates, and some at the beginning of the year and some at the end of the year and even some in between. But those students all started their own course at their own time, and they don't know from each other where they are, so it's difficult for them to work together. What we're proposing is to structure that system in a way that students start not only, shouldn't be one time a year, but several fixed dates a year in which students can start. So the freedom of the Open University and studying when you want isn't compromised that much, but the students belong to a group and they can help each other. That looks a little bit like this. So we're going back to our phase 1, and we're moving on to phase 2. Phase 2 is about mentoring. As step 1 suggested that if students are in a group that they're more likely to find each other and work together, phase 2 is more from the university point of view. And that students need someone to talk to on their, besides their fellow students, someone from the school who knows what they're talking about and who knows what they're doing and what is coming up for the student in next semester. So that's what we're talking about, mentoring. And we've seen in the numbers that mentoring is not as big at the Open University as we think that it should be, because the personal contact between the student and the school is very important. Moving on to the next section, meetings. Meetings is all about that connection that we're talking about. Meetings as in the study centers of the Open University, where students should be able to find each other with the tool we're going to present in a minute. And meetings also in the way of all those little things that we think that the Open University can improve on, let's say for something like an introduction to your course with that group that you're starting with. So you've got a physical appearance of someone, and you can lay your first context there. Moving on to the system that is going to provide that, and we think that because the university needs to change in an organizational way and in a personal way, that should be a step. You can't do that overnight, so it's going to take time. What we're suggesting is that we're going to build one system, and one system only, that a student can work with. And in that system, the student can find anything he needs. The professor can help the student in the system with giving students advice on courses in a structured way, and students can use it to view their grades through their email, but all centralized and, of course, personalized, because you're in that group and within a certain path. One of the features that is personalized, for example, is that you've got an agenda, and to motivate you, the agenda shows the most ideal date for graduating or succeeding in a certain course to motivate you. And of course, you're wondering now what would that look like? So we're going to the dashboard, and the dashboard is really just a mock-up, and it's the main page of that platform, and showing you news to give you the feeling that you're involved. And how are students going to get to this platform? Because it's the only platform that contains all the information, students can't live without it. So that automatically creates a connection with the Open University. And by sharing news and showing what's happening within your courses and your events and your webinars and whatever is involved with your study, when you're looking at the page, you feel the urge to do something and to learn what you came here to do. Showing you a page with the material. This is based on lessons that have been and are maybe upcoming. You can look back at the features that the Open University at the moment already has. But if they are integrated and combined with the fellow students and material that the teacher is putting online, then the information becomes much more valuable. We also thought about a mobile version of this, and that mobile version is about the study centers, because we think that if you can see that someone from your group that you started in is at a local study center because he checks in there, then you're more likely to go there because you know that there is someone that you can talk to and is doing exactly the same as you are. So, back to the modular concept. Basically, it's 4 steps, creating a new kind of Open University that creates the connection between the student and the Open University. So, back to Catherine, and Catherine, she feels like she's working towards the next stage of her life, and her group has the same goals, so she feels motivated. And back to the beginning, putting the U back into the Open University. That's what we're doing. Any questions?
Good morning, everybody. We are Team The Hobbits, consisting of Melanie and Robin. And me. And we would like to talk about our idea how we should tackle communication problems in the Open University. A brief summarization of the problem space. Open University was dealing with an amount of students dropping out of colleges. And the second one was they had trouble competing against similar companies marketing-wise. Budget-wise on marketing, sorry. We did a short analysis of the whole analysis phase that we did for Open University. There's 4 points. What does Open University want? Their main vision is a lifelong learning. And the thing that they provide and they really stand for is the fact that they offer accredited studies. The second analysis we did is we took a look inside the company. We had interviews with the teachers and with the students and looked how they experienced the Open University. We looked at the tools that the Open University used to communicate with our clients. They mostly consist of the website, advertisement, but mostly the website. And during the analysis, we tried to visualize the Open University by using a couple of business models just to get a graphical overview of the Open University. The conclusion we took out of this analysis was consisted of two things. We looked at the experience that students and teachers had, and the things that came out of that were they thought that the courses were too expensive. They had a need for mentoring. Not everybody, but a lot of students do prefer a way of mentoring within their study. And the third thing is they wanted a more social and collaborative experience. That meaning they wanted to meet other students during their studies. They felt that sometimes they were just alone during their studies. We took a look at the learning tools and the communication that the Open University used. And their learning tools are StudyNet and StudyPlaza. StudyNet is kind of outdated and has a lot of things we could use that could be improved. StudyPlaza is a great tool, mostly used for guiding the student during their courses with tips how to learn, etc. And another thing that we found out is that the students experience low communication with their teachers. And they would like to have more communication with them.
And we put them all together to a new business plan.
Yes. So with all these facts of analysis and experience we got from the students and the teachers, we started to brainstorm and, we summarized a couple of things. What does Open University really want? That is their vision, a lifelong learning. Open University wants everybody to be able to expand their knowledge on certain aspects. Remove the initial threshold of money. This is because most of the students that do want to study at the Open University feel that, the studies are quite expensive. We want to turn long-distance learning into a more social and collaborative way of learning. And we want to add more mentoring regarding the study. So with those things, we started to create our concepts. Maybe Melanie can tell a little bit about it?
We were thinking about the way the Open University communicates with their students. And we were thinking about how can we get into the minds of the students before they even start to study. And there are a few persuasive techniques which you can use to communicate with people on a subconscious level. And there are, I think, a number of 7 or 8 ways to do this. And we filtered 2 of the methods for our project, which we thought were relatable. Those are called reciprocation and consistency. Reciprocation is the fact that when you do something for someone, you eventually get something back. So it's smart to do something for the students before they start to study in order to for them to proceed with their studies and not stop. And consistency is the fact that people are likely to be consistent in their actions. For instance, when you start doing a study, well, it's the best thing is to eventually finish it. to be consistent, because you already started at Open University, you want to study it, you want to finish it. Yeah. And to
Improve.
yeah, to improve the communication with the students, we thought about how are other universities doing this. We took a look at Harvard universities, and we found on their website that they give recorded lectures to their students. And we think that this is a good thing to do, because then when you hear someone talking, you actually feel a little bit more bonded to them. And this improves the better learning and can improve, can make a student not drop out, finish their study.
Wow. And if I might add to that, with recorded lectures, it also offers a practical thing, because students can store these lectures and watch them later on. They can just watch them later on, or sorry.
Yeah, because people are always on the go.
Ja, dat inderdaad.
Whenever they feel like it,
They can watch the lectures.
The second idea we had was no course tuition, because a lot of students found the money part for the courses a big issue. We thought about the no course tuition. This is a selection of free courses that the Open University will give. They can also be downloaded, and anyone can enter them. This will give them an impression of what the course will be. And this is also the part of Melanie said, the persuasive. The university will give as a free gift the students the course, and because of this, the students will find it more easier and will be easily triggered and eager to pay back the university by paying for the final exam.
Yeah.
For the final exam. So the courses are free, and only the exam has to be paid. Then we also had a final tool, which is the mentoring tool, which Roman will talk about.
Yeah, in addition to this business plan of offering free courses for the students, we also found out that the current learning tools do not suffice. We found this out from students. And we want to improve this. We think that the learning tools can improve the learning experience and can help students from dropping out. What we want to do with this mentor tool is we want to implement better time management for the students. We want to create a more collaborative environment for them so that they can share knowledge with students who have the same interests. We want to offer tools that support the learning, and we want to give the student a clear progress of their study that they are following. We've made a little mock-up of how this could look like. This will be the dashboard, and you can see instantly that on the right side we have the course updates. To the left we have a calendar. If you would hover over it, you can see what would be planned on that date, and you can also change it immediately. It's a little bit small, by the way. You can't see it really. To the left side we have what we call the course objectives. These have to do with the study progress that we have in mind. I will come on to that later, but the focus of it is that the student comes onto this dashboard and he sees, okay, these are the objectives that I need to do for my study, so let's do this. The second one is just a container for the updates of the community, which will display the most discussed topics and discussions in the community. To the left we see, het is echt heel slecht te zien.
Well, the document and on the CD-ROM it's big.
Yeah, okay, but to the left you have your profile. And you have a tab for messages and you have a tab for your contacts. And the idea behind that is that yeah, you can add other students and teachers to your contacts list, and that way you can contact them more easy. Next to that, yeah, I will come on to that later, but let's see. How we would see what we mean with the clear progress of the study is this is an overview of the course Ondernemen en Managen. You can see that a certain percentage is cleared and that the course consists out of a few blocks, namely process management, dienstenmarketing and HRM. The student then could see which sections are not yeah, completed yet, and yeah, he can do that then. He can click on it to see what the contents is and what needs to be done. If a block or a section would be cleared, you can see it by the fact that there is a grade or some sort of how do you say it? Yeah, completion for the task. Another thing that StudyNet is notorious for is that the layout isn't really consistent. Every course has its own layout, which for some students can be quite difficult. Here you see one task, Studietaak 1 of Ondernemen en Managen. And the idea is to see all the tasks and work them through one by one. For instance, here on the second, you really can't see it, but the second is a reading assignment that can be done like that. The third one is a test exam where you can do the online test exam. This will be sent to the teacher, and the teacher can then evaluate it if it's good enough. If it's good enough, it will be achieved. And hoe zeg je dat? Wegstrepen. Yeah, you finish it. A second thing that we want to do with the mentor tool is we want to create a workplace for students in which they can collaborate. And you should imperturb this as an empty canvas. The student has the option to create a text document or a free canvas. The idea behind it is that students come together and collaborate on the same document real time. The profit of this is, for instance, the free canvas is an empty canvas that can be used for brainstorming sessions or hoe noem je dat?
Teamwork.
Ja, ik bedoel eigenlijk iets anders. The idea is that you have, because we're working on a PC, you can't really drag with your finger like on a tablet, but that will be the ideal scenario that you can just draw on the canvas. We solve this problem by having a list of icons of arrows and circles and text containers that you can drag towards it, type in it, and yeah, other students can just fill in on that and create an idea from scratch. So yeah, this is more like an interactive workspace. This is a small overview of the community. What we really wanted to achieve with this is that the students can create their own groups where they can store their own information. This is something that StudyNet doesn't really have. This way you feel more bonded with your study, and yeah, you can share the knowledge of the same subject. This would be a small preview of how it could look like. We have 4 tabs. One is a discussion forum, a chat room, and announcements and a video conference. The second thing we wanted to add to the forum is when you create a discussion, you should be able to put your interest in it with the help of hashtags. For instance, I'm following Ondernemen en Managen. I started a discussion about business models, hashtag business models. When I create this discussion, other people that have this interest in their profile, they will get a notification of this, and they will know that this discussion is going on. And this is a small overview of the planning. It speaks for itself. You pick a date and time, a note, and it's added to your agenda. Was one thing that you didn't put in it. The file management. StudyNet's file management in its current state is pretty good, but I think it could use an extra thing. For instance, the fact of bookmarking. The idea behind that is that all your valuable sources towards the study should be in this app and should be accessed at all time. For instance, a valuable website, a good movie, they should all be stored inside the StudyNet. Yeah, for that's our presentation.
Okay, welcome everybody to our presentation. This is Christopher, I'm Fred. Roel is unfortunately not here, he has an operation. We are Julio Esteban de Rico de la Ramirez.
Something like that.
We're gonna explain the online tutoring platform. Chris is gonna explain the concept over two minutes. First of all, I'm gonna explain something about our focus. We focused at the occupancy rate. So there are less dropouts and less study delay. We think if you handle that firstly, and there's a good base with less dropouts and less study delays, the students will have good advice and a good mouth-to-mouth reclame to the outside, and that, that the next step is that there is more awareness. So we're going to talk about the occupancy rate. First of all, I'm going to explain the results. We did some interviews, tests like everyone else. There were three main problems, as I can say problems. The students needed more structure in the counseling, help when needed, and a summary of the progress. We'll say, when they are studying, they leave something behind them. They may make a planning, but not always they can stick to the planning, and it always stocks up and is a big mountain of work and everything. So we made a system that helps the student learning, and Chris is going to tell something about it. I don't think I forgot something.
Well, to elaborate on what Fred just said, they need more structure in counseling. Not every student, because it's a flexible studies. So students have the opportunity to choose whether they want to do it on their own, or when they did choose to do it flexibly, they can still get advice or tips from our program, which we'll show in a few minutes. Help when needed. With that, we mean that some students might come to a point in their studies where they struggle with studying, like Fred said, if they go through a divorce or forgot to make a good planning, the work stacks up, so they got more work to do at a certain point, and maybe it comes to a certain level where students drop out of the studies because they can't handle the studies anymore. So we try to make a solution for that, and the summary of progress deals with. We didn't find any, or from our research, we didn't see that there was any kind of way to track where you were along your module. So what kind of percentage you still need to complete in order to finish your studies or get your diploma.
You can see the grades you get, but not especially where you're at in the planning in the program. And we're going to explain our concept now.
Yes. Okay, so the concepts, I'll be explaining that to you now. Our platform is mainly focusing on tutoring. So like we said, it's a flexible studies, but occasional help would be preferred by certain students, as is a result from our research. We try to increase the occupancy rate. What we define as the occupancy rate is the amount of students actually on the Open University who are planning on finishing the studies, so not the students who drop out somewhere along the way. We want to decrease the dropouts by actually supporting students on those areas where they feel like they need help. The concept details. like we found out during our research, social media might be a good solution to create a community feeling amongst the Open University. LinkedIn seems like a good network to us because it's more professional than other networks such as Facebook. So while actually creating a community amongst the Open University themselves, they can also expand their professional profile, elaborating their resume, gaining new connections in the professional network so that they can create a network, professional network during the studies for when they're done. We could also use LinkedIn as a collective network plugin. Since we're making an application, they'll probably have to submit some kind of information about themselves. And usually people don't want to subscribe all over again because that takes time. And the Open University is all about making it flexible and studying and doing stuff about the Open University in your own time when you've got the time for it. So we want to save time by actually having them create a LinkedIn account, and they can use that on all the Open University platforms so that they only have to subscribe once and you still get all the information you need. We also would like to make a LinkedIn company page. It's similar to a Facebook fan page, but since we want to make it more professional, it would be wiser to make this page on LinkedIn. This page could be used by the Open University to post their news, new announcements, but also for students to meet each other. Like they could just explore the whole page and see who's studying at the Open University, how many students they have, how many, what their likability is, how many people like, to follow their news, and just be up to date with what the Open University does. Aside from that, we also thought it would be wise to make LinkedIn groups. The idea behind this is that LinkedIn works with endorsements. You can give friends endorsements for skills that they excel in. So you could, for instance, I could give Fred an endorsement in graphic design because I think he's a good designer. But the flaw of the system is that you can give everyone an endorsement without actually having proof that he does that certain kind of task. So what we thought is that if the Open University creates certain groups, closed groups, and invites people to that, it would be more official if they get invited to that group. So groups would be, for instance, for diplomas. If you've achieved a Master of Science in Cultural Sciences, then the Open University could invite you to that group so that everyone who visits your LinkedIn profile can see that you officially joined that program and finished your studies there. Also, that group could be used to find alumni. So it's, what we found out is that it was hard to find students who finished a course and to get in contact with them. If they use LinkedIn and they join that group, it will be easier to find students who actually completed a course to ask them questions for whatever reason. They could also discuss certain topics with each other within that group. So if you create a group for a certain module, say they have the first part of their module is about a certain class, they can create a group for that, and all the students in that group can discuss and collaborate within that LinkedIn group. So it's easier for people who choose to flexibly study to still find some other students to talk with. And endorsements can still be a part of our whole concept because when students complete a course with, well, if they prevail in a certain course, and the professor thinks they did it exceptionally well, the professor can give them an endorsement so that people who visit the profile can see that a professor who is, who knows what he's talking about, gave a certain student an endorsement for that skill. So that's kind of an extra bonus for doing something right.
If I may, these are the points we took on with us and made the concept. So
yes.
These points we go further and made the platform.
Yeah, so all of this is integrated in the platform we'll show you in a few minutes. So the platform is online. You can visit it on the website, but there will also be a coherent mobile application. About the platform, we have a homepage, which I'll show you in a minute. On the homepage, you'll have a quick instruction about what the platform is for, and you can click on certain elements to get a quick instruction on how to use them and how the platform works. Another feature of the platform is student statistics. We're planning on keeping a log from what students do online. We figure out that they do online courses, so they probably watch videos online, maybe do exams online. These activities can be tracked, so we can see how long they actually spend time online or watching videos. And with those statistics, we can determine whether they spend enough time studying online or whether they should step it up, and they can tick off whichever task they completed so we can see what their progress is. And these statistics will be shown up and gathered and showed up online so that they can see what their progress is for a certain period of time. An agenda. We thought it would be wise to add an agenda that has all the Open University activities in there as well. The idea is that the agenda could be integrated into your personal agenda. So if you have the application, you could synchronize both agendas and plan your study hours somewhere at a time that it's more convenient for yourself when you have a job or a hectic life with a lot of children or something, you name it. The next one is student settings and profile. It seems kind of vague when I put it like that, but it's actually really basic. You just have a profile that shows what kind of studies you do, what your life situation looks like. Maybe you're married with 3 children, maybe you have a job. You could share all that on your profile. And it also shows your progress record. The thing is that students can visit each other's profiles, or you can see a student's profile as a lecturer and see that maybe he's going better with his studies, or maybe he's slowing down with his studies. And when he's getting worse, automatic notification can be sent by the system telling the student that he needs to step up, but also telling students who have better progress rates on the system to maybe give advice to that student on how they handle that situation. So students with the same kind of education or same kind of life situations would be linked to the student who has trouble coping with the studies to give them tips, and the student who has trouble gets advice on who to contact to get advice on how to handle that studies. The system also collaborates with other existing Open University services. Since you already invested a lot of money in creating online platforms to study and the website and online campaigns, this website merely is an extent of that service you offer, but it still links to all the websites that deliver the course material, etc. And we also, like we said, collaborate with LinkedIn by making them socially more interactive.
Also by the agenda, it's also a document, but where I would like to explain also. When Chris don't complete a task, he says, I have to study Thursday night for graphic design, I say something. You can think that off. It's also a possibility if you like that. If you don't think it off, if you didn't do it, the agenda is going to replace it on a time where you have free time. So you don't get the mountain of work, and you don't forget to do it. And you can also send a message to the mobiles. So
yeah, I'll show you a visualization of that in a few minutes, or in a few seconds actually. So we talked about the progress log. We just track how well they're going. If they go back, if they worsen in their studies, or they spend less time studying, they just get a notification, hey, maybe you should study more, or maybe you should plan some hours of studies. We plan on making a coherent buddy system. So if you go worse, students themselves actually give tips to other students, which is better because those students actually have an idea of how that other student who has problems lives and how his problems work, instead of having a professional who doesn't really, who isn't that personal with that student, who doesn't know how his life looks like, tries to give him advice. It's more personal this way. So this is the system. We gave visuals. We have printed visuals to see the details better. In general, you log in. It's important to log in so that we can track what you do. This is the home page. On the home page, you see 3 big buttons. The first one says track your study progress. When you click on that button, you see a short description of what that means, and it slides onto the next slide showing you how to use it. The middle button says get help from a buddy. When you click on that, it just says that it advises you to create a network of buddies, which you can rely on when you have trouble. You can just exchange tips and talk about each other on how you manage your studies. The last one says organize your studies, which is actually, like Fred said, the agenda. We could plan, if students like to have that function, they can determine their preferences. If they don't want it, they don't get it. But if they want this, the system can automatically fill in a couple of dates on which they can study. So it fills in, for instance, 2 hours on a Saturday because they didn't have any activities there. The next week they fill in 2 hours on Tuesdays because on Tuesdays they didn't have any activities there. And it actually helps you organize your studies in case you don't really have experience in handling this kind of situation. But in case your week is full and you can't actually study during a certain week, the system still makes a notification saying next week you should try to spend more time studying. And the week after, it will plan more study hours so that you still get the recommended kind of hours you need to study for certain kind of studies to, well, to keep up with the other students, as you may. Let's see. So yeah, once you log in, the top part slides up because it's maybe too distracting, and you can just search for other students or topics so that you can, for instance, search on your studies, and you see all kinds of people who follow that studies, so you can add them as your buddies. Okay, the next one. This is the agenda on the website. It also appears on the mobile application, which will be shown after this. On the agenda, you see your personal agenda. If you've synced it with your mobile, you see your personal activities. And this agenda is actually meant to schedule your course tasks. So as you can see, when you click on a certain event, a pop-up shows up saying task completed or move task. You can move a task when there's no opportunity for you to execute that task on a certain day. But you can also tick it off as completed once you've, for instance, made a certain exam or studied a few chapters of a book. You can tick it off, and the progress will be logged, so you can see that you spend enough time on that studies. So you should actually theoretically be able to pass for that course. We also have the progress logs. There are a few types of statistics we track. The hours studied. Actually, these are the hours that a student spends online. So viewing exams or making exams, viewing online documents, watching videos. Those hours will be logged. Of course, we'll try to track if they're actually being interactive, if they just didn't leave the screen open, but that could all be figured out later on during the development of the system. So we track the hours studied, the exams, the amount of exams they've taken, how well they did during those exams, the completed tasks. So that's actually the steps you have to take during a model to complete the whole course model, and their overall progress. So all the statistics combined will be added together. They'll have their own progress line colored in blue, so they can see how well they did over, for instance, a year, a month. They can filter this out. And they'll have the average progress rate of all the students combined defined in red, so they can see if they're falling behind on other students or if they should step up, or if they have enough time to skip a week of learning. And below the statistics, they get a tip. For instance, if they have a buddy, that buddy can give them tips on how to handle it, and if they did it right, the buddy gets a notification, hey, your advice worked, so you did a good job. Below that, you can see the amount of hours statistically, presented with a nice graph to just make it easier to understand the graph. When you click on a certain element in the graph, below it will tell you what it's about. Next to mobile application. So this is actually, this is not the center of the whole platform we're trying to create, but this is more of an on-the-go check. So if you're in the subway or on the train, and you quickly want to see where you're at on the studies, or if a buddy left you a message, you can open the application and interact with them. It also says gamification for buddy and log system. What we mean by that is if you're a buddy for someone, we also want to give that buddy a certain reward, because the thing about the Open University is people want to study flexibly because they might not have enough time. They think they might not have enough time to study full time. So we want to save them as much time as possible. And it might not seem attractive to people to become a buddy because that means extra tasks, and extra tasks means I can't spend time on my own studies. With gamification, we mean that we give certain rewards for being a buddy. So when you're a buddy, you don't only get to see that your buddy is doing, that the other person is doing well. You get a good feeling because of that. But also on LinkedIn, they get the endorsements for colleague development. So we add that skill to their profile, and people who have been tutored by that certain buddy get another point in colleague development, which could be used during a job if they apply for a job that has to deal with colleague development. That skill can be seen on their profile. They could also be invited to one of those LinkedIn groups to show that they were actually a buddy.
May we on that?
Yes?
I don't know if it's clear what the buddy system is in this, if it's explained for everyone. A student can check and search in the display for fellow students that following the same course, and see the life situation of them. They give it on in this thing. and you can check the body, you can select one or more, and these bodies can help you following your course. If you struggle with something, that's the purpose of it.
Okay. So onto the mobile application. Over there you see just a short display on what the statistics look like, same on the website, but more compact. You have a few big buttons: agenda, progress, the home button, inbox, and me. The agenda is about the agenda, like we said. When you go to the agenda, I'll just skip back and forth. When you go to the agenda, it's similar to the agenda on your mobile device. This time we chose to make it look like an iPhone agenda. On there you see your personal activities. So for instance, someone has a birthday this day. Maybe that means they don't have time to study. But still, they planned their study hours in the morning, and in the afternoon they had a meeting. So what the system does is, because there's time left between that birthday or whatever and their meeting, the system advises them to study between that period of time, because maybe that's best in their schedule. As you can see, the dots mean that they have an activity on that day. This is a very busy schedule. So maybe this is the best time for that person to study. The system will try to calculate which is the most convenient for that person and schedule that activity in there. And when you synchronize your agendas, it will synchronize with your personal agenda so that you can set up alerts for studying, or get your personal activities in this agenda and vice versa. Back to the progress. So on the progress, you see a graph, and when you click on the graph, below